To set up your Scud culture tank. So I already did the boring part and filled this with water. You don't want to do cold water and you don't want to do hot water. Somewhere around room temp is good. So I am personally using a 10-gallon tank. This is going to be another Scud culture for me because I sell them online, but this is how you're going to set up the tank. Like I said, this is a 10-gallon tank. I recommend a 5-gallon tank. Feel free to get a 10-gallon tank if you want. A 10-gallon tank is not essential for Scuds to thrive. So since my tank is 10 gallons, I will need to dose at least 1 milliliter of Prime by Seachem. So you're going to take your little 1 milliliter syringe and your 10 milliliter vial of Prime, and you're just going to draw up as much as you need. And like I said, if it's your first time filling a tank, I recommend doubling the dose. But any water changes in the future, just use the recommended dosing. Alright, next step is going to be getting all of your things in the tank. Plan on using this Scud tank for an aquarium in the future that you just add fish to. You can go ahead and make a whole aquascape with aquarium plants and wood and rocks if you want to, but it's not necessary. But like I said, if you plan on transforming your Scud tank into a thriving ecosystem with fish later, then you can definitely set it up as a fish tank. So you're going to start with your 7.5 ounce of lava rock. If you're not particular, you can just put them in the tank, or if you want to create little structures, you can do that as well. Okay, I decided to create 4 little Scud islands. The next step is taking your crushed coral and putting this in the tank. Same thing with this. If you want to make little spots of this, you can, but I'm going to sprinkle mine around the islands. So it almost looks like sand on a beach. This stuff may make your water a little cloudy. Alright, I've got my 4 little Scud islands made. Next step is getting the sponge filter in. You're just going to want to unravel all of the airline tubing that you have. If the airline tubing is too long, feel free to cut it. But you're going to take your sponge filter, twist off the plastic cap, and then you're going to thread the line through the top. You're going to attach it to the inside of your sponge filter, and then you're going to take the plastic and put it back on top. And your sponge filter is now ready to be hooked up to an air pump. A little tip when you're putting it in the tank, you're going to want to put it in the water and squish it a few times so the sponge can absorb water. Now this other end is what you're going to connect to your air pump. Okay, now that your air pump is connected, you're going to see bubbles start coming up from the sponge filter. Like I said, if this is too long, you can always cut it. I'm just going to place it off to the side for now. Now is time for the exciting part, your Scuds. Your Scuds are going to come double bagged. This is just a test bag. I recommend cutting the entire top of the bag off. A little tip for your Scuds. These guys have been sitting in the mail for 1 to 3 days. So all of the reactions happening in this bag are closed off to the outside world. So as soon as you open this bag, the pH in the ammonia is going to spike. Now for this little amount of water, it's okay to put it in the tank, but generally when you're ordering fish in the mail, you don't want to put that water in. And then this sponge in here is going to go right into the tank. Do not rinse anything. Alright, now we have our opened bag of Scuds and we're going to dump the whole thing in the tank. Alright. Now, a little thing that you should do is inspect the entire bag. Make sure you didn't leave any of your Scud friends behind. Alright, and now your Scuds are in your tank. Now, since they've been in the mail for a few days, they might be a little bit hungry. I recommend taking a tiny, tiny, tiny amount of fish food, or if you want to blanch a vegetable, and just dropping some in the tank for them. See, our Scud friends are all out and about in their tank. 4 little islands here, which gives them all the enrichment they need. This little vial of the water conditioner that came with the kit is good for 100 gallons of water. So that means you're able to get multiple water changes out of this. But I recommend buying your own bottle of water conditioner for the future. Now this is the sponge that came with the kit. You're going to want to put this in the tank as well. This was from an existing tank, so it has tons of beneficial bacteria on it, which will jumpstart your nitrogen cycle. The friends that you might see come into the tank are copiopods, snails, and detritus worms. If you see any of these, don't worry, they're just part of the ecosystem. I will be making a video every single day for the next month documenting the growth of this Scud culture.